As you're preparing for that outdoor grilling event, one of the main considerations is how are you going to keep that food cold at your event? And keeping cold foods cold at 41 degrees or below is very important. And one of the ways to do that is with coolers with ice, and having separate coolers for separate food items. And so you should have a cooler that has your raw foods. And so we're looking at having, your raw meats in a cooler by itself, because you don't want that to contaminate other foods. Your second cooler would hold your prepared foods. So things like a prepared salad, maybe your beverages, and also cut produce. And cut produce needs to be refrigerated. Our whole produce does not need to be refrigerated, but once it's cut, it does. So things like fruits like melon, vegetables like cut tomatoes and greens, and your onions should all be kept cold. And a third cooler should just have ice. The ice should be in a cooler that is cleaned and sanitized, as all of your coolers should be before you start your event. Ice is a food, we consider that a food, and so you don't want anything else stored in that ice cooler, just ice, if it's going to be used as a beverage. Some other equipment that you might want to have for your event are good grilling utensils, and make sure you have enough utensils so that if you're using the utensils on raw food, then you can use a clean utensil when you do your cooked food. The other important item is a food thermometer, and we'll talk a little bit later about what those proper cooking temperatures are when we're cooking meats on the grill. We talked about the considerations for the food before you actually put the food on the grill, and now we're going to talk a little bit about actually grilling the meat. One of the things that you really want to make as your major consideration is not taking the raw food off the plate and putting cooked food back on that same plate. That's cross-contamination. Also, your utensils you treat the same way. Once you touch the raw food on the utensils, you want to go and clean them and then come back with clean utensils. We've kept our food safe before we put it on the grill, and now it's on the grill and it's smelling really good. But how do we know that it's really done? The only true way to know is to use a food thermometer. When you use your thermometer, you want to put it into the thickest part of the meat. With ground meat, ground beef, ground pork, we want to cook it to 160 degrees and make sure it reaches that temperature. With ground poultry, chicken, turkey, it's 165 degrees and reach those temperatures. Now other meats have different temperatures. Steak, for instance, is 145. And the difference in that is the amount of handling that food gets. With ground meats, it's handled a lot more than what is with steaks. So use that food thermometer to tell whether it's done. Just the color of that product is not always an indication. One last tip of food safety as you're having your outdoor grilling event, make sure you put food away. Food should not stay out more than 2 hours, and if it's a day like this, above 90 degrees, that time reduces to an hour. So put those leftovers away as soon as you can and enjoy your grilling season.